Military takeover. Alien invasion. And a team of 6 dogs. This is Paw Patrol. You may think this is just a silly show about dogs and a 10-year-old boy for preschoolers with no logic, no story, and nothing to theorize about, but I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at Paw Patrol the same. If you thought my Bubble Guppies theory was crazy, then get ready, because this one is even crazier. This is the Paw Patrol alien theory. This is Ryder. He has no last name, has no family, but he does have a private military build-out of talking dogs. He's in charge of the Paw Patrol in the show, and well, is presented to himself as the average 10-year-old boy genius who is just trying to help his city. But that isn't exactly true, because if you watch enough episodes of Paw Patrol, like I have, you'll notice one thing. Ryder is evil. He is manipulating the Paw Patrol using PTSD he caused, forcing them to bend to his will. Don't believe me? Let me explain. Let's look at Ryder from a different point of view, ignoring what he wants us to see him as and what he actually is. He's a 10-year-old boy that recruits stray homeless dogs to fight in his private military, rewarding them only in treats. That doesn't seem very sweet. These dogs also don't have the option to just leave. They can't quit, and they can't even go home because they live with Ryder. I also don't even think they see him as a pet owner, but instead a boss. Every episode when they suit up, they call him sir and treat him like a leader, not an owner, someone of authority, not love. And well, that's because in their eyes, he deserves their respect. He saved them from a worse life, a life on the streets, a life abandoned, a life without purpose. He's their savior. So it doesn't matter if he pays them in money or treats, or he sends them on missions that get them killed because they owe him, and they'll do anything to repay him. But you know, maybe I'm being silly and exaggerating what's actually happening. Sure, the pups have some trauma from their past life, and sure, maybe Ryder could pay them better, but he's still a good leader, right? Well, he doesn't just rescue homeless dogs with trauma because they were there. He chose them because they had trauma. Chase was a homeless street dog in a big city, surrounded by blaring lights when Ryder found him, and forever was scarred by those moments with intense PTSD. And what does Ryder make him? A literal police dog in a car with blaring sirens and lights where he is constantly driving on roads. And guess what happens when they go to the big city where Ryder found him? Chase breaks down, and instead of comforting him, Ryder blames him, says he's not good enough for the team, so he fires him. But where is Chase supposed to go? He lives with Ryder. He is a part of the Paw Patrol. His life is the Paw Patrol, so taking that away is killing him. So he'll push down any pain and PTSD he has to get his job back, to get his savior's attention back, because that is what he is conditioned to need, because he is a literal dog. Or how about Marshall, a clumsy Dalmatian that, while hardworking, isn't exactly the carefulest. And guess what he does? He's a firefighter, one of the most high-tense, anxiety-inducing jobs you could possibly give him, where one mistake could lead to everything being ruined, which happens in the show time and time again, slowly ripping him apart. You could keep going for literal hours about every honorary or permanent member of the show and how they all have some form of trauma or underlining issue that their job title feels like it's directly working against, because Ryder is evil. To add more to his crimes, if you consider the Matt Pat theory, which is that the Paw Patrol members are not the first and there are many dead dogs before them that Ryder is simply replacing, it makes him even worse. These dogs are relying solely on Ryder. Their only contact with the other dogs, even in this world, is through him. You pay attention all the time, we see other dogs is when they leave the city, with no talking dog in Adventure Bay, meaning the only way in Paw Patrol, the only way the Paw Patrol can meet and talk to their own kind is through Ryder. Ryder is not just some 10-year-old boy with a bunch of pets he uses to help his town. He's an evil mastermind, manipulating their faults and traumas against them to build his own private military, reaping all the benefits while the dogs get nothing. But that isn't even the worst. No, because Ryder isn't just manipulating his dogs, he is manipulating and funding the villains themselves. Let me explain. There's actual direct proof that the Paw Patrol is influencing the villains to become, well, well, villains, with their actual arrival in a place always happening to bring chaos instead of peace. Take Mayor Hummindinger and Mayor Goodway. Before the Paw Patrol get involved, they have these ongoing competitions that apparently were fair with zero cheating and no evil plots. Usually though, with Mayor Hummindinger winning, because these town rivalry competitions just weren't Mayor Goodway's specialty. But then the Paw Patrol roll in, and they bring high-tech, military-grade technology ranging from an Air Force to marine equipment, all at no cost for this mayor. Suddenly, Mayor Goodway has a little advantage in, well, everything, and that makes her give the Paw Patrol some special treatment that a normal private military owned by a 10-year-old wouldn't get, because she's in their debt, just like the dogs. Everyone owes Ryder because he has no morals and will do anything to get under your skin and manipulate your every move. So what does Mayor Hummindinger do? He fights back. Sure, he cheats and he's doing some villainous things, but these dogs are unfairly targeting him and ruining a fair competition between him and another mayor. So he gets his own army of cats mirroring the Paw Patrol to a T, and the rest is history. The weird thing is, the technology Hummindinger usually makes is not exactly great, usually falling apart and generally being unreliable. Now compare that to his cat's gear. He is leagues behind his own technology, but the cat's gear is actually very similar in design, but also similar capabilities of the Paw Patrols. Is it possible Ryder is selling his technology to villains to fund his, well, very expensive lifestyle? We know Ryder would need to be very rich to afford his multiple watchtowers, a literal helicarrier, the gear for his Paw Patrol, and everything in between. There is mention in the movie that he apparently is making money from merchandising the Paw Patrol, but how he says it, he references it as something he's just doing now and a new thing that he's discovered is profitable, not a random multi-million merchandising company he is suddenly bringing up. So he would need to make money before that, and we know this guy's morals isn't exactly great, so maybe he'd be selling his technology to the villains. But you know, Mayor Hummindinger may just be a coincidence. Maybe he got lucky, except there are even more villains with the exact Paw Patrol technology in this show, down to the fact they are also dogs. From the villains mysteriously having very similar pup tag collars to our Paw Patrol, to villains like Sweetie having advanced gear like the Paw Patrol that happens to be identical to the gear they wear in that episode, which our new suits Ryder just happened to have lying around. Everything just seems to point to these villains who we see many times not being technologically advanced or smart, having baseline technology far above them, technology identical to Ryder's. But all of this just points to one question. Why? Why does Ryder want this town, his city, and this world? Why does he seem to have influence that goes so much deeper? Well, I think I know why. I've been teasing throughout the last section that the Paw Patrol and Ryder are slowly but steadily taking over this world and politically manipulating it. And well, yes, I wasn't lying. This is a militarized world, not by choice, but because of the sheer evils of Ryder. It all starts in Adventure Bay, the town that the Paw Patrol originally began in. I've already mentioned it, but Mayor Goodway and Mayor Hummindinger have a normal town rivalry the Paw Patrol use to get in the favor of their town government. And as we see in the show, they slowly, as the show went on, use that influence and government to their advantage. Think about it. How is this private military police force running at all? Like, they are given full ability in Adventure Bay to close streets, to arrest people, and anything else they desire. They're given full control over the city's laws and are put above them, but in no way are held to any standard. We know the Paw Patrol is not publicly funded because of previous comments made from Ryder himself, which is good in a way, but it means by definition, this is a private company acting as a police force, and the literal mayor is rewarding it. Ryder isn't just protecting his city, he's slowly replacing it, making it solely rely on him and bend to his will. Just look at how he acts in the movie where we're introduced to Adventure City, which from my findings is a stand-in for Vancouver, so that's a pretty big upgrade for Ryder and his private military. The very start of the movie shows Ryder having direct contact with dogs in other cities, including ones we haven't even met. This is shown through Liberty, a dog that lives in Adventure City and is almost a spy for the Paw Patrol, directly meant to watch out for any political decisions that will hurt his future aspirations. While he has influence in his town's politics and is slowly gaining elsewhere, the neighboring and very much larger in terms of power doesn't even know who the Paw Patrol are. We see this when they actually come to the city and no one knows anything about them. The movie kicks off with Liberty explaining how the horrible Mayor Hummindinger has taken over Adventure City. How? By winning a fair election. Wow, I wonder what the semi-government owned but also conveniently private police force leader leader, will publicly say about this. You know, it would be very irresponsible for him to be publicly and privately in front of his military force, express deep hatred for this man, and also a call to action to remove him from politics. That could incite mass panic and conflict with extremists who follow the Paw Patrol, going out of their way to take out this political leader simply because a 10-year-old hinted at approving of such.
He's the worst mayor in the history of mayors.
Well, that's dandy. This entire movie's plot is just Ryder and the Paw Patrol illegally taking over the city, breaking many federal laws, and trying to take out this political leader because they know he would not approve the many tactics the Paw Patrol use to help people. This entire movie is also weirdly trying to paint Mayor Hummingbird's plans as evil because the Paw Patrol disapprove, when his plans are to build a high-speed transportation, build more infrastructure for the citizens, and as he quotes, just make the city better. Sure, he could be lying until we see him directly do all these things, and the only reason it fails is because of the Paw Patrol's meddling. It feels like the only reason that Mayor Hummingbird is evil is because the Paw Patrol are good, or more the opposite of him. They're on the side of Mayor Goodway, and she has good in her name, so she must be all good. But if you look at the actual movie, it just doesn't seem that way. They illegally dump cement onto public roads just because they see it as the way to stop the bad guy. They demolish the kennel without a permit and with people and dogs inside, just to get to Mayor Hummingbird. Even if he was truly evil, they'd go out of their way and damage property, and most likely people themselves, crashing into bridges and literally setting a jet into a high-tech machine in the sky, which would leave rubble flying onto people. Ryder is given full control over this world, is gaining political power fast, and is again only 10. He is treated like an amazing leader, but even you ignore the many crimes he commits, he isn't even that good of a leader. He uses literal dogs as his police force and only has one for each specialty. Knowing they are fully in charge of their smaller but sizable city of Adventure Bay, what happens if there are two fires at once? Does Ryder just choose which one he feels like saving? You would think he would send multiple pups to different missions, but no, they all have to go at once. I get it, Ryder. For some reason you think Zuma, the water pup, can help fix some road work, but I don't agree. This is a nightmare of a world run by a bunch of dogs and a 10-year-old boy, and that all makes me ask one thing. Why? What is so special about these dogs? What is special about Adventure Bay? And why is Ryder a 10-year-old? Well, I think I figured it out. Don't believe me? Let me explain. See, there are actually two Paw Patrol movies, with the second one being a lot weirder and also having even more lore. The movie centers are on a magic space rock crashing down in Adventure Bay and giving many characters literal superpowers. See, the magic crystal actually has different effects on animals versus the Paw Patrol, or more importantly, dogs. In this world, all dogs can talk, but other animals cannot. This is a normal fact in this world and is very interesting. The crystal gives animals the ability to speak, while the Paw Patrol gets superpowers as they already can speak. My theory is that this magic rock has some kind of special magic or space warping abilities to it that is warping the biology and DNA of our animals, giving some superpowers and some just the ability to speak. In the movie, it is mentioned that this is not the only magic meteor that has ever landed in this world, so my theory is that long ago, a meteor like this landed and somehow dogs, or more wolves, got their hands on it and naturally evolved with these special traits. Maybe humans fed them to their furry friends. The actual how it happened isn't actually important to me, at least. We just know it must have happened a long time ago because it seems normal in this world. That's why the magic crystal affects them differently. They're already immune to its natural effects. But this alone isn't exactly world-breaking. It explains why the dogs and, well, the Paw Patrol in this world can talk, and maybe can explain their heightened ability to perform human tasks, but how does it relate to Ryder's schemes and, well, anything? Well, I think it all goes down to Ryder and how maybe he knows more than we thought. Let me explain. This show is filled with aliens. There are many different episodes all centered around aliens, with them all coming to Adventure Bay, and the way the characters interact with these aliens are really weird. Aliens are not exactly a known thing everyone is aware of in this world, even with many visits from them, except for one character, Ryder. Ryder never bats an eye at the existence of aliens, even though a character trait of his is in these supernatural episodes usually being a skeptic compared to the pups. So it's weird that he's fully on board and almost feels like he's dressed directly had relationships with multiple of these aliens we see. Maybe it's time to take a deeper look at Ryder past his many crimes. Ryder is 10. He's 11 in the movie, but for most of the show and just the canon, he is 10 years old. So that makes me question, where are his parents? Why is he not in school? And how does he have any of this technology? Sure, we could explain he sold the stuff to the villains and eventually monetized the Paw Patrol, but not only would that require some legal guardian or just someone who's not a preteen to sign something, but even a genius 10-year-old shouldn't be able to realistically build or even come up with any of this. This kid has a multiple high-tech watchtowers, multiple motor vehicles for his literal dogs, a mentioned helicarrier that he has on standby to relax in, and also a robot dog he just has that's very advanced and can seamlessly do anything. He is also seen in the very first episode and onward to be able to fix and build all of this himself, which the average person shouldn't be able to, so a 10-year-old doing it is even stranger. To add to his very weird not 10-year-old activities, he is seen driving in the movie and does it like it's normal. Everything in the show points to Ryder not being a 10-year-old boy, but he says he is, and no one questions it. Well, maybe it's because he isn't just some 10-year-old boy, and it isn't even human. What if Ryder is an alien? Well, I actually think there's a lot of proof he could be. Not only does he immediately, when starting his own private police force, make it up of dogs, something if he was an alien would possibly know they are directly tied to magic space trucks, but his interactions with aliens themselves shows hints of him being one. Not only does he have no skepticism towards aliens, but knows exactly how to contact them, hack their technology, which probably is crimes to add to his list, and also seems to have many friendly relationships with many aliens, to the point it makes me question if there was a previous relationship. The biggest point of evidence, though, is the technology Ryder uses. Throughout the show, Ryder uses devices very similar to the tech of aliens we see in the show, with its watchtower looking identical to an alien ship, to the point not only does he call it out, but a literal alien mistakes the watchtower for his UFO. This would explain away how he has this technology. He brought it with him from his homeworld, and probably wasn't exactly a 10-year-old there, and could just be lying to seem less threatening to humans. I think all of this is evidence that Ryder himself is an alien, which means all of this, from the political takeover to the building of a literal private army, is a solo alien invasion, and I think Ryder has already won. The worst part of all of this is it seems Ryder has no plans to stop and is growing without any barriers. The government is basically powerless against him with his alien wealth and technology, connections he has made by pretending to be good, and simply the incompetence of every adult in this world. He started with just 6 traumatized dogs, but now throughout the entire show, 2 movies and multiple spin-offs, has grown to over 25 pups, scaling the entire globe, all decked out with military-grade alien technology, ready to recruit and take over this entire world one place at a time. We know that he is emotionally manipulating all these pups, as well as every honorary member of the Paw Patrol, including the new ones that all have some weakness he is employing. Liberty just wants to be a member of the Paw Patrol to help her city, and he gives her that as long as she falls in line. Everest just wants to not be lonely, as she is a dog in the middle of the Everest, so he gives her a place at the Paw Patrol where she'll never be lonely as long as she stays and never leaves and forever stays loyal to the almighty alien ruler that is Ryder. Well, I guess we should add cult leader to the list of keywords to put in the title. Ryder has been slowly but steadily building a private unchecked army across the globe, one that makes the local governments feel the unnatural desire to close their own public services, letting the good old Paw Patrol do it for them, because no job is too big or too small for the Paw Patrol. But he isn't just brainwashing and tricking these traumatized dogs into doing this, he's actively watching their every move, and anytime they don't fall in line, he takes care of them. We see in the movie when Chase runs away because of the unfair treatment from Ryder, he simply pulls out his phone and says he'll use the pup tracker he put in all of them to find him. Ryder chipped the Paw Patrol. That's over 25 dogs from around the world that Ryder has full access to the location at any time without their knowledge, as Chase wasn't aware of this tracker and he's one of the loyalist pups. This is a full breach of privacy that Ryder does because he doesn't care. Every move he takes is for his mission, and anything that gets in his way will be taken care care of. And the sad thing is, all of this doesn't matter. The world loves him. They love the Paw Patrol because he has forced them to. He is shown in the final movie to be given the key to the city. He builds an entire new watchtower in Adventure City, has multiple other ones around the world, and mentions the ability to silence the emergency services of the nation. He has the royal family in his hands. He has the entire US government relying on him, but at any time, he can switch the tables and take over like he's been doing from day one. This is not a story of silly dogs and a boy helping their city. This is a story of alien takeover, of a militarized world, and a fake 10-year-old boy torturing his dogs. But that isn't even the end, because Ryder isn't just replacing this world, literally, dogs. He's replacing the planet. And a zoom out shot in the second movie, we see the continent structure, and it's not like Earth. And you know what it looks like? A dog-shaped supercontinent and a paw print Australia. Everything in this world is dogs. Everything is Paw Patrol, and it's all because of Ryder.